You wake up, a normal morning, but something is wrong. The ceiling, familiar, way too familiar. This is your old room, the same wallpaper, the same creaky chair by the window. You are 13 years old. Your body is 13, but your mind, yours, adult, with all the experience, all the mistakes, all the weight of the years you've lived. The smell of your mom's cooking drifting up from downstairs. Old childhood toys on the shelf you'd completely forgotten about. And then you feel something heavy in your pajama pocket. You reach in. Your smartphone. From 2024. The screen is on. Signal is full. Wikipedia loads in under a second. On the screen, one article. Bitcoin. Launch date, January 3rd, 2009. All-time high, $73,000 per coin. You look at your hands. Small. A child's hands. But behind your eyes, the exhaustion of someone who has already seen everything. You look at the calendar on the wall. September, 2003. You have 6 years before Bitcoin even exists, and you know everything. The only question is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? And, will you survive it? The first thing you do is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't exist yet. The first thing you do is walk to the kitchen and look at your parents with completely different eyes. They're barely in their 30s. Young. Your dad is reading the newspaper. Your mom is drinking tea. They have no idea who is sitting at their table. You look at your father and realize he is your first tool. Or your first obstacle. A brokerage account for a minor is impossible without a parent. And convincing your dad to buy stock in some tiny company called Apple, almost impossible. You grab a notebook and start writing a plan. Not in a kid's handwriting, in an adult's. Numbers, dates, companies. You know everything that's coming. In 2003, one Apple share costs about $1. By 2024, $180. A 180 times return. You start playing the role of a prodigy. Reading every financial newspaper, asking smart questions in economics class. Your teacher stares at you, confused. Your classmates think you're weird. You don't care. You're no longer operating on the same level as them. 6 months later, your father looks at you differently, and you ask him for one experiment. Put a small amount into Apple stock. Just to try. He crosses his arms, looks skeptical, says, "You're 13, go do your homework." But you don't give up. You bring printed charts. You use words a 13-year-old should not know. You are calm and precise. And at some point, he gives in. Just to test it. A small amount. An experiment. August 2004. Google goes public. IPO price, $85 per share. You already know what it will be worth in 20 years. You go back to your father. More charts. More convincing. This time, he agrees faster. Because Apple is already climbing. 2005. A local newspaper writes a small piece about you. Teen investor. A prodigy. Your father is proud. You look at your photo in the paper and think, this is just the beginning. The hardest part is still ahead. Because your classmates are already looking at you strangely. Teachers are whispering. You are too sharp for a 13-year-old. Too calm. Too grown up. You notice this. And you start choosing your words more carefully. Pretending more. Hiding what you know. You learn the first lesson fast. Knowledge isn't power while others know you have it. Power is staying silent. And so you go silent. For now. 2009. You're 19. A college student. Apple stock has multiplied several times over. You have real capital and your father's trust. And then, January 3rd. On this day, Satoshi Nakamoto launches the Bitcoin network. The first block. 50 coins. You read about it on a tiny forum with maybe 50 members. Nobody understands what's happening. You do. In 2009, you can mine Bitcoin on a regular CPU. No special rigs. No GPU farms. Just a computer running overnight. You start mining. Quietly. Not a word to anyone. 100 coins. 500. 1,000. 2,000. 3,000. 4,000. You don't stop. 5,000 coins. In just a few months. Electricity costs almost nothing. The coins are worth nothing. For now. You fall asleep at your desk. The laptop runs beside you, green code scrolling across the screen. You're counting in your sleep. 5,000 coins multiplied by $73,000. 365 million. You wake up in a cold sweat. 2011. Bitcoin hits $30. The first major peak. You knew it was coming. And you sell. A small amount. Carefully. Real cash in your hands for the first time. Joy. And immediately, fear. Because you know, every transaction is recorded forever. The blockchain is a permanent ledger. Every coin, every sale, every wallet address, visible, forever. You move the rest to a cold wallet, a physical device. No exchange, no internet trail. But there is already a trace. Small, invisible for now. Like a shadow on a sunny day, it's there even when you don't see it. And someone is starting to notice. Not you. Not yet. The pattern. In an analytics office, a file is opened. No name, just a series of perfect investment decisions. Apple in 2003. Google in 2004. Cash exit before the 2008 crash. Bitcoin from day one. The analyst looks at this chart and says to a colleague, "This is impossible. This isn't genius. This is insider information." Or something worse. You walk down the street. You're smiling. You suspect nothing. But in the corner of the frame, surveillance cameras slowly turn to follow you. You are too accurate. Too perfect. And that is your greatest weakness. In a world where everyone makes mistakes sometimes, someone who never makes a single one looks more suspicious than a criminal. But wait, we skipped something important. 2008, the global financial crisis. September 2008, Lehman Brothers collapses. Markets crash. People are panicking. Red screens everywhere. Pure chaos. And you're sitting in a coffee shop, calmly drinking your coffee. Because 2 months ago, you quietly moved everything to cash. Completely. Your brokerage account? 0 positions. All sold. Green checkmark. You're safe while the world burns. People are losing jobs, losing homes, standing in lines outside banks. Real people, real pain. And you think, could I have warned them? Could I have posted something online, called a journalist, told the truth? But you know the answer. Nobody would believe you. And if they did, they'd start asking how you knew. And that's the end. You call an old friend. He lost his job. His voice is crushed. You quietly transfer him money, anonymously, just because. Your neighbor notices your new car, gives you a strange look. Crisis for everyone else, new car for you. Interesting. At a party, 2 people are whispering and glancing in your direction. You catch one word. Lucky. If only they knew. You start being more careful, talking less, appearing less, learning to be invisible in a crowd. That night, you burn all your written calculations. You watch the fire consume the evidence. You think, destroy traces immediately. Always. 2012. You have several $1,000,000. Explaining them legally is nearly impossible. And then one day, you notice something strange. The same man in the coffee shop. Then outside your building. Then on the subway. In a government office, a folder is opened with your name on it. You don't know this, but the folder already exists. On an investigation board, red strings, connecting the dots. Apple 2003, Google 2004. Exit before the crash. Bitcoin from day one. Too perfect. At 2 a.m., your phone lights up. Unknown number. You don't answer. A minute later, again. You turn it off. A dark parking garage. 2 figures in the shadows. They know about the Bitcoin. They propose a partnership. You know what that means. You refuse. The next morning, 3 men outside your building. Black suits, blue lights on their car. This isn't the criminal world anymore. This is the government. You look through the peephole. The fisheye lens distorts their faces. They knock. Calm. Confident. They're in no hurry. That night, an emergency meeting with a lawyer. Documents spread across the table. Serious faces. You understand. Time is running out. You lie in the dark, staring at the ceiling. 3 a.m. Shadows moving. Sleep doesn't come. You get up, grab your backpack, passport, cold wallet, some cash. Nothing else matters. A night airport. Empty corridors. You walk fast. Not running. That draws attention. Just fast. A new passport. A different name. Your face. Someone else's identity. You look at the photo and don't recognize yourself. The plane climbs into the night sky. The city lights shrink below. Everything you built over 20 years stays down there. Lisbon. Golden hour. Warm streets. You stand with one suitcase looking at an unfamiliar city. A villa overlooking the Atlantic. Beautiful. Quiet. You are alone. Completely alone. Dinner at the best restaurant in the city. Empty chairs all around you. The waiter smiles. You smile back. And you think, when was the last time I had dinner with someone? In the park across the street. Families. Children running. Parents laughing. You watch from a distance, a glass wall between you and them. You can't see it, but it's there. Let's stop here and be honest. Let's say everything worked. You're 33. You have several $100 million, multiple passports, property in 3 countries. You are financially free, completely. But there is a question that won't let you sleep at night. You lived your childhood not as a child. You were a 30-year-old in a 13-year-old's body. You looked at your classmates like they were kids, because they were, and you were not. You sit surrounded by luxury, an expensive watch, car keys, a penthouse, and you stare at nothing. Empty. You never truly fell in love. You never truly made friends. You built connections. You never just played. You strategized. Every conversation was a move. Sometimes you remember your mom calling everyone to dinner, the warm kitchen, simple happiness that you never let happen. You were too busy with the future to live in the present. You remember summer, playing outside with friends as a kid, the carefree feeling that will never come back. You stole it from yourself. And in reality, you are alone, in a cold, beautiful penthouse, with no one who knows the real you, because no one does, not even you anymore. One night you open Wikipedia, just to check, and you see something has changed. The dates are wrong. The events are different. Your actions in 2003 changed enough to make the future different. The Wikipedia on your phone describes a world that no longer exists. You changed the lives of people you never met. Bought Apple stock. Someone else didn't get funding. Exited Bitcoin. Someone else never got in. The chain is endless. Your knowledge is outdated. The smartphone from the future is just a phone now. You're alone with a world whose rules you no longer know. And the screen starts to flicker, to glitch, to break apart. Timeline corrupted. The screen goes dark. Forever. You hold the dead phone in your hands. Silence. Darkness. No navigator. No hints. For the first time in 20 years, you don't know what comes next. 3 doors. 3 paths. The first, try to undo everything. The second, accept it and move forward. The third, tell the world the truth. Imagine you pick the first one. Undo it all. But how? Time doesn't run backwards. Even if you wanted to, you've already changed too much. The second path, accept. Walk forward. Down a road into the unknown. No map. No Wikipedia. Just you and your experience. The third, go to the press. Tell everything. Become the most famous person in the world. For one day. And then, prison. Or worse. You think back to that morning, 13 years old, smartphone in your pocket. You were so sure, this is a gift. This is a chance. This is a win. You remember your father at the brokerage. He was so proud of his son. Not of the millions, of his son. And you were already looking at him as a tool. You remember the first 100 Bitcoin. Pure joy. The only moment when money was just money. Not a weapon, and not a threat. You stand at the edge. You look back. At everything you built. Enormous. Cold. Yours. You walk to the mirror. You look. And you see him. 13 years old. Smartphone in hand. Eyes burning. He's looking back at you. You smile at him. For the first time in a long time. A real smile. Bitter. But real. You sit down at the desk. Pick up a pen. And write a letter. To yourself. To that 13-year-old. You seal the envelope. Place it on the table. Done. You step out onto the balcony. Sunrise over the ocean. For the first time in 20 years, you don't know what today holds. And that feels, strangely, okay. Was it worth it? Honestly, I don't know. The money is there. The freedom isn't. I knew the future, but never lived the present. Won everything. Lost what mattered most. Was it worth it? Tell me in the comments. What would you do? What piece of future knowledge would you use first? And how far would you go? Next episode, a completely different story. You invented the teleporter. In your garage. Alone. And now you are the most dangerous person on the planet. Because corporations worth trillions want your technology. Governments want to control you. And criminals just want you. Would the world let you live with an invention like that? Find out next episode. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Hit the bell for notifications. And if you listened all the way to the end, make sure you hit that like button. Until next time. Bye.